At his peak, he was making $60 million per day. He offered a simple choice to everyone who stood in his way: silver or lead. Accept the bribe or accept the bullet. This is the story of Pablo Escobar, the most dangerous criminal the world has ever seen. Pablo Emilio Escobar Gaviria was born on December 1st, 1949, in Rio Negro, Colombia. He grew up in poverty in Medellin, a city that would later become his personal kingdom. From a young age, Pablo was different. He was smart, ambitious, and completely fearless. As a teenager, he sold fake lottery tickets and stolen cars. He once told his friends, "I want to be big, not just rich, big." By the time he was 22 years old, Pablo Escobar had already been arrested for stealing cars. But prison didn't stop him. It only made him more determined. In the mid-1970s, Pablo discovered cocaine. At the time, cocaine was becoming incredibly popular in the United States. Millions of Americans wanted it, and nobody was supplying it efficiently. Pablo saw an opportunity that nobody else dared to take. He started small, smuggling cocaine in car tires and hidden compartments. But very quickly, he scaled up. He built his own smuggling routes. He bribed airport officials, police officers, and politicians. By 1980, Pablo Escobar controlled 80% of the cocaine entering the United States. He formed the Medellin Cartel, one of the most powerful and violent criminal organizations in history. At its peak, the cartel was smuggling 15 tons of cocaine into America every single day. The money was so enormous that Pablo literally didn't know what to do with it. He buried cash in fields. He stored it in warehouses. He once said that he spent $2,500 every month just on rubber bands to hold the money together. He built his own private zoo. He owned 27 mansions. He had his own private army of over 3,000 men. Forbes magazine listed him as one of the richest people on the planet, with a net worth of $3 billion. But Pablo Escobar was not just a businessman, he was also a terrorist. When the Colombian government tried to stop him, Pablo declared war. Not metaphorically, literally. He had judges assassinated. He had police officers killed in the streets. He bombed a commercial airplane, killing 107 innocent people. He set off car bombs in the center of Bogotá. His motto was simple: plata o plomo, silver or lead. You either take my money or you take my bullet. Thousands of people died. Colombia was living in absolute terror. Pablo even ran for political office and won a seat in Congress. He wanted legitimacy. He wanted protection. But when the government exposed his criminal background, he was expelled. That was a mistake they would regret. Pablo responded by murdering the Minister of Justice, then the Chief of Police, then a presidential candidate. The Colombian government, with help from the United States, launched the biggest manhunt in history. A special task force called Search Block was created with one mission only: find Pablo Escobar. In 1991, facing enormous pressure, Pablo made a deal with the government. He would surrender, but only if he could build his own prison. And they agreed. He built a luxury prison called La Catedral on a hilltop outside Medellin. It had a football field, a bar, a jacuzzi, and a waterfall. Guards were chosen by Pablo himself. He continued running his entire criminal empire from inside his own private prison. When the government finally tried to move him to a real prison in 1992, Pablo simply walked out. He escaped. The hunt began again. After his escape, Pablo became a ghost. He moved constantly. He never slept in the same place twice. He disguised himself. He cut off communication with almost everyone. But he had one weakness: his family. Pablo loved his wife and children more than anything. and he couldn't stop calling them. The search block, using advanced American tracking technology, began monitoring every phone call in Medellin. They knew that eventually, Pablo would call his family. On December 2, 1993, Pablo called his son Juan. The call lasted too long. Within minutes, Colombian forces surrounded the house where Pablo was hiding. There was a gunfight. Pablo tried to escape across the rooftops. He was shot 3 times, once in the leg, once in the back, and once behind the ear. Pablo Escobar was dead. He was 44 years old. When the news broke, Colombian police officers celebrated in the streets. The government declared a national holiday. The most wanted man in the world was finally gone. But what did Pablo Escobar leave behind? He left a country traumatized by years of violence and terror. He left thousands of families destroyed. He left a generation of Colombians who grew up knowing nothing but fear. But he also left something unexpected. In the poor neighborhoods of Medellin, some people still remember him as a hero. He built houses for the poor. He built football fields. He gave money to people who had nothing. To the Colombian government, he was a monster. To some of the poorest people in Colombia, he was a savior. The truth, as always, is somewhere in between. Pablo Escobar moved more cocaine than anyone in history. He made more money than most countries. He killed more people than most wars. And yet, 30 years after his death, the entire world still knows his name. This was Dark Vault. If you want more stories like this, subscribe, because the Vault is just getting started.